Hey everybody, I am Katrina from In Cat We Trust, and this is another one of my TV show video reviews. But before I get into the TV show review, please click on that notification bell and don't forget to subscribe so you can get new videos when they come out. So, I am finally going to be reviewing Netflix Squid Games. Now, I personally did love the show, but life happened. I was very busy. I've been doing all these other things. And I wanted to make sure I got the names right. I don't like messing up names, and I try my best to get them correctly. So that's one of the reasons also why I didn't do it. But let's get into Squid Game. So the basic premise is there's a group of people taken into this remote island, and they're playing games that would remind you of childhood games, things like Ring Around the Rosie and hide and seek and stuff like that. So you play these childhood games, but the consequences for losing said game ends in a lot more sinister way. Or if most people I feel by now have seen the show, you end up dying. So the main process is to make that one winner make it to the very end, and then they will get a bunch of money. And the money, got more and more as every round of games went through. So it was definitely an interesting concept. I did, feel connected to a lot of the characters. So let's get into some of that. So the character Song Jae-han was like, a chauffeur. He was a dad. He was a divorced dad. He kind of lived with his mom. He gambled a lot, and he was one of those like characters. You're like, you're one of those who don't really strive for a lot, or if you did strive for a lot at some point, something happened when you're kind of just like going through life, just going through it, not necessarily living it. So he was the main character, and I do believe his character probably had the most character development. In the very beginning, even with his daughter's birthday, there's a scene where he's at the restaurant with her, and even there, it just seemed like he kind of was like, whatever, in regards to being a dad. So I really appreciated his character development throughout the series. He becomes this guy who's kind of a slacker to somebody who, have a bit more kindness. He's a lot less selfless. He seems more caring, and like he wants to be a better dad by the end. So that was a character that I did appreciate and did have good character development. One of the other characters who was surprisingly, to an extent, though eventually I did see it happening, was Cho Woo. So he was a former head of an investment team for a security company, and he was also friends with Song Jae-han. They were classmates at some point, and they studied, and he's supposed to have went to college. His mom, in the beginning, they showed her a couple of times saying how proud of, she was of him, and how he was away making money and living a good life. And apparently, however, he was taking money from his clients, so he wasn't really that good of an investment. He was kind of a shady investment person, and he pretty much had a lot of debt from these money he was taking, but he also owed people money, and the cops were looking for him. So his character, he kind of gave in the beginning, like when they first introduced him, that one, he didn't want people to recognize who he was. That, he felt like being in the games, to me at least, like he was beneath that. And you can kind of see it with like throughout the episodes how like even when he was teaming up with people, he always seemed like he thought he was a bit better than the rest. And even to the point where he said that he was smarter, which I will get into why he said that. So he was a character, again, I wouldn't say I particularly liked his character development. I feel like, if anything, the writers exposed what kind of person he was, and he really wasn't a good person. So there's that. One of the characters that I really did like also was Kang Se-bok. I hope I'm saying her name right, but Kang, she, had a brother who, lived in like an orphanage, and she also had parents that lived across the border, and her ultimate goal was to get enough money to kind of reunite her family, her brother, her parents with her. And I thought that was a really nice thing. Like, again, I don't know, in a situation where I had to be separated from my parents or family members because, everybody was in the same country. So I never knew what that felt like, but you kind of felt her pain throughout that. And you also see with her, she also got a lot of good character development. Like she was very standoffish in the beginning, really, kind of like doing what she needs to do to survive. She stole some money from Song. She stole some money. She kind of was just like, whatever, I'm kind of doing what I need to do to survive. So she had that kind of vibe. But by the end, you see not only did she become more trusting of the group she did want relying on, but she seemed like she was more willing to help others as well. And that, again, I'm also a good believer of what makes you connect to characters is how well are they relatable, but also how well you can kind of develop them over time. So really, really good character work. So one part that really bothered me was the scene with Chow and the immigrant from Pakistan, Abdul Ali. Now, there was a scene where they were playing these games, and I think they consisted of, like, getting marbles. And pretty much Ali did win the game, but raggedy Chow kind of like cheated him and had him go look to see if they can get some more marbles, and then Ali trusting. And while other people said, well, but it's a game and people have to die and there's money. And yes, I get that the ultimate goal, unfortunately, was only one person can make it to the end. Only one person can survive, and there can only be one winner. And I understand that. But I also am a firm believer that usually when you do petty and malicious things, and like I can be petty sometimes, but I never act with like maliciousness. I never do anything that's malicious. There's a different thing of being petty to be like sarcastic or something, and being petty that can cause harm. So Chow doing this to Ali ended up with Ali passing away. And that was one of the parts that really bothered me in the show, because I'm like, he generally just wanted to take care of his family. He had a child. And like Chow's thing was like, okay, you was stealing money from people. Like you needed to suffer somewhat. Like, yeah, you need to pay the money back, but you shouldn't have been stealing in the first place. Like whatever the cops wanted you, well, don't take money from people. So I felt like it was just a really sad thing of also like in a very real world situation, you can't always, trust everybody, and everybody may not have the same kindness you may have or the heart that you may have. And that's something I feel like I've always told people that I've met over the years. Like I have a very strange sense of loyalty and a very strange sense of having to be there for people I care about, and it never really gets the same level in return. So it probably hit me a lot more than most people because of that. Like you be kind and you try to go help people only to kind of be stabbed in the back. And in this case, poor Ali ended up dying. So that was a part that really, really bothered me. I didn't really like that, it has to be that way. So another character that was pretty interesting was Oh Enam, and I'm hoping again I'm saying the name right. He was supposed to be impatient with a brain tumor, very old, and it seemed like if anything he had a good time playing the game. And while there were a lot of scenes with him where he kind of was like casted off by a lot of the people in the Squid Games because he was old and he was sick. And so, he wound up being with Song for most of the game as far as teaming up with him. But even there was a scene between him and Song where they're playing the same marble game, and Song is clearly lying to him. And it seems like he might not know that first that he's lying, but if he does, it's said that he did know he was lying all the time and that he really wasn't being a good friend. And then he dies until we get to the end, and I don't want to spoil that part. So, if you haven't watched it, definitely check that part out. So basically, not to ramble too long about it, I did enjoy Squid Games. The ending kind of like, are we going to really, I guess we see what we can do with this, with the ending. I was happy with the result of who won the game. I was happy with, again, a lot of the character development over the time, and also the reveal of some of the people's very bad character flaws. So if I'm rating this out of a 5, I'll probably give it a 4. Again, there were parts that I felt could have been done a little better or could have been explained to an extent with some of the characters, but it was a good show. I did enjoy it, and I am looking forward to season 2 since there is supposed to be a season 2. So you tell me in the comments, what was your favorite character? What was a scene that really got to you, or a scene you didn't like? Or, whatever you want to give off Squid Games, put them in the comments. I cannot wait to read them. Thank you again so much for watching this video with me. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.